Welcome to the afternoon shift. It is Friday, February 13th. I'm Adam Lorenz.
Max Fuller.
It's Valentine's Day Eve, Max, but people are overlooking the fact that it's Friday the 13th today.
Yeah, totally didn't think about that.
Yeah, kind of a day for unluck or superstition. You have any superstitions that you're into?
Not necessarily, no. How about you?
Yeah, I won't. If I go to a market and it's like $6.66, I'll put on some gum or a Tic Tac or whatever because the 666 just doesn't do it for me.
For sure.
But there's some people that are really crazy. I mean, I've been in cars with people. They go over railroad tracks and they have to pick up their hands and stomp their feet and do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Holding breaths over bridges.
Yeah,
the not walking underneath ladders. A lot of people split the pole is probably the most popular one that I
split the pole.
When you're walking side by side with someone and you go up and there's a pole or something like an object in the way. If you guys both, that's like considered bad luck. If you guys both go, if you split it.
I've never heard that one.
That is probably the most popular and common one that I know that people subscribe to on like an everyday basis. Like I know legit people will make you go back around. You're supposed to undo it if you do split the pole. Like I know several people in my life that will make me go back around if I split the pole.
I've never heard of that one. Yes, Paul. We can't hear you, Paul. We can't hear you.
I'm guilty of that one. I don't know
why.
Pole. I don't know why, but it does. It gets to me. The superstition of split the pole. Like I'm always if I'm holding Kaylee's hand, I will make sure that we go around the same side of the pole. She's still a grown-up and she refuses to step on a crack when we're walking, along the footpath.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that was the other one. Yeah, stepping on cracks and whatever on the sidewalk. But Friday the 13th, I feel like it was a big day when we were kids. Whatever today, but it is what it is.
I don't think kids really think about that kind of stuff these days anymore. They don't believe in anything.
Yeah. Did they believe you? Were you a Valentine's Day guy? Did you bring Valentines for your classmates and everything?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of did.
Yeah.
Or at least the teacher did for everybody. Yeah, for sure. But I'm a lover at heart, so yeah, I've always been into Valentine's Day.
Yeah, you had to bring Valentines for everybody, even the people that you didn't really want to give Valentine, you had to still give them to them.
Yeah, but you gave the best ones to your crush and to your best friends.
That's right. I still eat the Sweethearts candy.
Oh,
I like to get it on Friday or on February 15th because then it's on discount and you can just it's just great.
Smart.
It's a huge sugar rush though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Are you a Valentine's Day guy?
I am. Some of my best friends were born on Valentine's Day from childhood. My favorite NFL player of all time was born on Valentine's Day. Steve McNair is a Valentine's Day birthday.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Of course. I've always liked Valentine's Day. I like the spirit of Valentine's Day. And I liked handing them out when I was a kid and getting the candy and all of that stuff. It was fun.
Yeah, I totally feel it. It's a great day.
Yeah. We are going to talk some Valentine's Day at the end of today's show. But our big news of the day happening here in Minnesota, Don Lemon, Nakima Levy-Armstrong, among others, arraigned in court today for their protest of City's Church in St. Paul on Sunday, January 18th. This is a story that's not just big here locally, but really has made national headlines too.
Yeah, it's kind of the story coming out of Minneapolis today, and I know we got Mike Manzoni on the scene that's going to give us the lowdown on everything that happened today. That's right.
So we're going to be doing that. The Harlem Globetrotters, they're coming to the Target Center on Sunday, and then they're going to Rochester. On Monday. We spoke to one of the players on the team earlier today. We're going to play back that conversation.
Yeah, it's really cool. They're on their 100-year anniversary tour. It's been 100 years of the Harlem Globetrotters and their unforgettable tricks.
I was reading, actually, they started in Chicago. I feel like a lot of people, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They started in Chicago, but then they eventually moved to New York, and they've just kind of become the Globetrotters. And good knowledge on the Generals. Was not really familiar with their game. But they've been kind of the nemesis for decades. So.
Yeah, and they're kind of the prototype for other, for lack of a better term, kind of like gimmicky sports things like the Savannah Bananas that are insanely popular right now. But it all kind of starts with the Harlem Globetrotters. They're the progenitors.
That's right. The Savannah Bananas would not be here without the Harlem Globetrotters. I also read the Harlem Globetrotters invented the three-point line. That idea came from Harlem Globetrotters basketball.
I believe it.
I think so, and the NBA eventually took it over. So
I believe it.
It's incredible what they've done. Then we're going to get into some Minnesota sports talk. We're going to be talking about the Minnesota Olympians over in Italy right now. The NBA All-Star Weekend coming up in Inglewood this weekend, and then the Daytona 500. You're a big NASCAR guy on Sunday on Fox 9.
For sure, I'm gonna watch it. I'm trying to get into it this year. It's the NASCAR Cup Series opener, kind of the kickoff of of the season. I got some Daytona 500 facts for you guys.
Who's your pick for this weekend?
And, I'm going with Joey Logano.
Yeah, he was one of the co-favorite at 12-1.
12-1, yeah.
Yes.
Joey Logano, he's a beast, man.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin, he's won a couple times, 3 times or something like that. So I know a thing.
Familiar with your NASCAR knowledge?
I know a thing or two.
You know more than me, so that's great.
I know a thing or two.
What do you know about the rodeo? Do you know about rodeo at all?
I've never been to the rodeo, but I would love to go. I know we're going to be joined by a rodeo clown later in the show. The rodeo, the Cinch World's toughest rodeo, is going to be at the Grand Casino Arena starting tonight and tomorrow. A little Valentine's Day treat for those out there if you want to go see the world's toughest rodeo.
That's right. And then we're going to round it out with we're bringing back the Black History Month spotlight. We have 2 new people to profile and celebrate on Black History Month.
Absolutely, for sure. And then we got some more Valentine's Day fun to be had at the end of the show.
That's right. So that's today's show. Let's get into some headlines here briefly. Dave Chappelle, speaking of Grand Casino Arena, I know the rodeo is there. On Sunday night, he's playing at GCA, and then he's actually booked another.
I think it's the other way around. Yeah,
Sorry.
I think Monday. He originally planned to be here Monday. That was announced about a week or 2 ago that he's going to be there with the Grammy award-winning, I believe now, Clips, Pusha T, No Malice. They're the group The Clips. If you know, like Grinding and songs like that from the past, they're going to be opening for Dave Chappelle. And then I think he just announced today, I believe, that he's actually going to have a show in Minneapolis the day before on Sunday.
That's right, at the Varsity Theater, a very intimate venue, capacity 750. But the Grand Casino Arena show was really drawn out. That's like his kind of protest on ice, really, is
for
what
sure.
it is.
That's what inspired it. He wanted to show some solidarity with the people of Minnesota. Dave Chappelle, very connected to the city of Minnesota. He obviously has a fondness for Prince. A lot of people don't know that when he was gone, because he was gone for a long time, we kind of see him, we're used to seeing him, in the public again, but a lot of people forget that he left in the, in the middle of the 3rd season of Chappelle's Show, the hit TV show, the most popular show at the time, the most popular comedy show. He left in the middle of that season because he felt uncomfortable with the creative direction. He kind of disappeared to Africa for a little bit, and he was gone out of the spotlight for years. He had done very rare stand-up performances here and there, and one of them just happened to be here in Minneapolis. He just randomly decided to stroll into Minneapolis one day, and he announced that he was going to perform the next day, I think it was, or the next day or 2, and it was sold out within minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's got a fondness for the city of Minneapolis, and he's obviously trying to show the solidarity with the people here.
That's right. So that's also happening here this weekend. Out of Dinkytown, the University of Minnesota and PJ Fleck, they've agreed to do a contract. $7.9 million is new deal. He's now the 5th longest tenured coach in Minnesota history. Your thoughts on Coach Fleck?
I feel like this happens every year. I feel like I've seen this headline for the last 3 consecutive years. I don't know what he's doing to get the contract boost every time. I think he's been, properly compensated and not necessarily overachieving. They're not necessarily underachieving either, but they ain't overachieving. They're just achieving. You know what I'm saying? So props to him, more power to him. It's one of those things where I don't think there's not an easy upgrade if they departed with PJ Fleck. Some people are into the bit. I'm just a media guy. I'm not into the bit. Doesn't matter if I'm into the bit. If the players are into the bit and rowing the boat and doing all that kind of stuff, then pay the man his money.
RTB out of Minnesota.
I guess so.
Yeah, we're pumped to have Coach Fleck in his shirt and tie and all, the whole thing. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, Okay, so we're just going to go right to him. We're just going to get right into the biggest headline of the day. Max, you said it. It's not just huge here in Minnesota. It's really big all across the country, this city's church protesters.
Yeah, and Don Lemon and others are now, I think they're being arraigned in court today, and we're finding out more details disseminating from that. And Mike Manzoni, Fox 9's own Mike Manzoni is on the scene.
That's right. What's going on, Mike? How are you?
Hey, good. How are you guys? So court wrapped up within the last hour or so. 5 of the 9 people, there are 9 people charged total. 5 of them were arraigned today, most notably Don Lemon, the former CNN anchor, and then Nakima Levy Armstrong. She is a local political activist and attorney. She was also arraigned, and then 3 others, including a Chantel Allen. She is a St. Paul school board member. As expected, they all entered not guilty pleas to the charges against them. That's kind of expected. That's what happens typically in cases like this. The only thing notable was an issue involving involving Lemon's cell phone. Apparently, federal authorities, when they arrested him last month in Los Angeles, they confiscated his phone. They also took Armstrong's phone, and their attorneys wanted them back. It's unclear when they'll get them. Prosecutors said they're still in the process of kind of going through them, copying over the data, and that they're not ready to give them back at this point. The judge seemed to suggest that they need to maybe speed up that process, but prosecutors didn't have any firm answers there. Everyone here faces charges, civil rights charges. These are civil rights violations. The federal government is claiming that they essentially interfered with the churchgoers' right to worship. This started as a protest last month, an anti-ICE protest. Don Lemon claims that he was there covering this as a now independent journalist. He doesn't work with CNN anymore, but he kind of does his own thing online, and that they were all arrested at some point afterward, and federal prosecutors are claiming that they basically interrupted what was going on there. I think the president at one point claimed that they intimidated the churchgoers there, and of course the people facing these charges deny those allegations. They pleaded not guilty. Outside court, Don Lemon vowed to fight them. He called them baseless. He said that he's been doing this for 30 years and he will not be intimidated.
Mike, were you actually inside the courtroom today? And if so, what was sort of the look and demeanor of Nekima and Don and the others?
No, so it was a small courtroom upstairs, so space was limited, but most of the press watched from a larger courtroom, an empty courtroom downstairs, and they had a live feed set up, so we could see kind of what was going on. It was a relatively small courtroom. All of the defendants, the 5 people and their attorneys, Don Lemon had 2 attorneys with him, including former federal prosecutor Joe Thompson, who served as acting U.S. attorney for Minnesota up until just a few months ago, and he resigned in protest over the Renee Good situation and claims that the Justice Department was pressuring him and others to investigate Renee Good's wife. They all were kind of seated on one side, and then just 2 attorneys, 2 federal prosecutors on the other. But it was kind of a cramped space. I was not there, but we were watching the live feed of it all.
Mike, I know Nekima and some others spoke after the court hearings today. I'm not sure if you got a chance to hear what they said or not, but if you did, could you kind of just give us a summary of what she said?
Let me just bring up on my computer here because I just went through that. So I'll just read to you a quote from one of the quotes that Don Lemon had. This is a quote from Don Lemon outside the courthouse. He said, "Like all of you here in Minnesota, the great people of Minnesota, I will not be intimidated. I will not back down. I will fight these baseless charges, and I will not be silenced." He continued, "For more than 30 years, I've been a journalist, and the power and protection of the First Amendment has been the underpinning of my work. The First Amendment, the freedom of the press, the bedrock of our democracy. The events before my arrest and what's happened since is that people are finally realizing what this administration is all about. The process is the punishment with them." And then a quote here from Nekima Levy Armstrong. She spoke with reporters outside after the arraignment. She said, "They are trying to prevent us from calling out a manifest injustice, and that is having someone like David Easterwood having the nerve to serve as a pastor at City's Church in St. Paul while also serving as the director of ICE at the Whipple building in St. Paul. Somebody say that ain't right." And David Easterwood, the person she's referring to, is the acting field director of ICE, who also works as a pastor at the church where this protest happened. And that's kind of what sparked them all to go there. They were protesting the fact that he is a pastor there while also working for the federal government.
Mike, great insights. We really do appreciate your time there. We know you're busy, and you'll have more on the 5 o'clock news. That's correct?
Yes, more at 5 and 6.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. So So Mike was talking about, he didn't say it directly, but the FACE Act, and that's really what all these people were charged with. And our guest coming up next, David Schultz, a professor at Hamlin University, will be able to tell us more about the FACE Act and really the charges that these people are facing.
For sure, and I know a lot of people are worried about the implications of this case and what it could mean for the future of journalism.
That's right. That's right. More to come on this Cities Church protester story coming up right after this. Afternoon shift. We're covering this the Cities Church protesters story. They were all in court today, and we just heard from Mike Manzoni. And now we're going to hear more from a legal perspective about the charges that they're facing.
Yeah, because this case is obviously affecting the journalists directly involved, but it could have wide-reaching implications.
That's right. That's right. Joining us now is Hamlin University's professor of political science and legal studies, Mr. David Schultz. David, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you?
I'm great, and I hope you're doing well on a beautiful day like today.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Before we get into the specifics here, David, can you just tell us what exactly is an arraignment hearing? That's a word I hear all the time, and I'm sure a lot of people hear that as well. But what exactly are the specifics behind an arraignment?
What the arraignment hearing is the first step in charging somebody with a crime. Actually, I should say a second step. So you've actually been arrested at this point. Now you finally appear before a judge, and they ask you, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty? And generally, people at this stage are going to plead not guilty. And then they try to do some other things in terms of maybe setting up a calendar for maybe when the trial is going to start, or maybe other things. But let us just say at this point, it's just the initial appearance before the court in which the government reads out the charges and you respond to them whether you're guilty or not. And again, there may be other motions that are raised, other things that are raised, but that's really what's happening at the arraignment stage.
David, among the charges levied at Don Lemon and others is a violation of the FACE Act. I think that's kind of been the headline of this so far. What exactly is the FACE Act?
Okay, so the FACE Act is the Fair Access to Clinics Entrances Act. It was adopted back in 1994, and it was adopted when we had a lot of protesters showing up at reproductive rights or abortion clinics, blocking them. We actually had a couple of instances where protesters moved from First Amendment protected protesting to what? Actually killing a couple of doctors. And so when the act was adopted, in order to get it passed, not only did it make it illegal to use force, threats, or intimidation to block people from entering a clinic, but they also said at the same time in the act that it would be illegal to use force, threats, intimidation to prevent people from entering or exiting a house of worship or being able to exercise their First Amendment rights to basically practice religion. So if you think about it, this part about the churches, or I should say religious establishments, was added in there to get enough support among some others so that they could pass the Clinic Act. But the primary purpose was to basically guarantee people access who wanted to seek abortions or reproductive rights health.
David, what's like the punishment sort of ramifications of being found guilty of violating the FACE Act? I mean, is this cause for like a prison sentence here?
Yes, potentially. And there's a distinction that the law makes. There's a distinction between nonviolent acts versus violent acts. And if it's your first offense, for example, a nonviolent, punishable up to 6 months, $100,000 fine. If it's a violent act, it could be imprisonment and escalates from there. So it's actually, I correct myself, first offense nonviolent, it's up to a $10,000 fine. If it's considered to be violent, then it could be up to $100,000 in fine and in prison, which means more than a year.
I know a lot of people nationwide. Obviously, we're honed in on it here because of the local angle. But I know a lot of people nationwide have their eyes on this case because it could have some far-reaching implications. What makes this case so important?
Well, I think there's sort of two aspects of it here. One of it is in terms of the protesters, and then this Levy Armstrong, Kimia Levy Armstrong, and then the second is in terms of Don Lemon, who's a journalist. In terms of protesters, I mean, generally this act has not been used very much. In fact, I'm scratching my head to find a time when it was used when people entered a church or something like that, or blocked a religious establishment, I should say. But here, if they were to find, for example, the protesters guilty, many people say this would be a significant restriction upon our First Amendment rights to protest, to demonstrate, and so forth. Because again, remember, the act says you have to use threats, force, or intimidation to physically obstruct somebody from entering or leaving a church or religious establishment, or interfering with their practice of their religion, a church service. Part of it's going to hinge on a video that's out there that people have been watching. Did the protesters come in and legitimately protest in a way that they're allowed to do so? Or did it cross that line in terms of not just being a nonviolent protest or a peaceful protest, but did it actually cross the line over into obstruction with religious rights? That's for the protesters. The second issue with Don Lemon, journalist. It has been a long tradition in this country, I can't even tell you how far back, that journalists oftentimes get embedded or accompany or with protesters, and they observe what's going on because it's a matter of public concern to know, who's doing what, what's the protest about and so forth like that. And the government is using this act now against a journalist, and this is pretty unprecedented. And if there were to be eventually a verdict against Don Lemon, many people are saying this would have a significant impact upon the press and journalism's ability to be able to cover events. But I'm going to push it even further. It would have a big impact, I would argue, upon people's ability to use what? Hold up my cell phone here. Hold up their cell phone to record, let's say, a protest going on at a church or something like that, or a synagogue or a temple. So this has enormous implications that go beyond Minneapolis-St. Paul. It really gets at the very heart of what? Our rights to protest and the rights of journalists to cover and report the news.
David, you're kind of branching them out into two camps there, the protesters and then the journalist angle. Don Lemon, of course, Georgia Fort, she was not arraigned today, but she will be next week. In your eyes, and based on all the video that you've reviewed and everything that you've reviewed about this case, which camp do you think has the better chance of being found ultimately not guilty? Do you think it's the journalist camp there, or do you think it's the protesters themselves?
Well, if I can go in a different direction and say, I don't think there's enough evidence for either of them to be convicted. In fact, I'm half expecting at some point for the judge to throw this out. But if I had to weigh one of them, it's certainly Don Lemon has a stronger case. And again, the historic role that we have for journalists accompanying and showing up in terms of being able to cover, again, protests, covering even if the protests themselves are violent, we give a lot of slack constitutionally to let journalists to cover stuff like this because, again, we think it's incredibly important for the public to be able to see what's happening and to be able to judge for themselves. And here, when I watch the video, I don't see anything that indicates that Don Lemon did anything in terms of using force threats or physical obstruction. There's no indication that he blocked an entrance. He didn't hold anybody back. I don't see anything in any of the videos. If you watched him, tell me if you saw anything. I didn't see him grabbing anybody's arm, holding him, forcing him to stay any place. And so I just don't see anything based upon the video so far, that indicates he did anything that would come anywhere near a violation of the FACE Act.
Professor, what's next in this process?
Well, what's next in this process, again, with the arraignment today, they should be starting to work on maybe settling or starting to work on some pretrial stuff in terms of maybe setting a calendar for when, for example, maybe a trial's occurring. Maybe they want to start to think about where there might be jury selection, but we're still a long way from that at this point. Where we're still at this point is perhaps I think there's a bunch of. And again, I didn't hear today everything, and so I might miss something. If you've heard something, correct me here. I suspect the defense for Don Lemon and the protesters are asking for the charges to be dismissed, saying that there's no basis, for charging anybody. And I suspect the judge may be taking that into consideration. I think there's a possibility also that what you could see is the government eventually withdraws the charges. We've been seeing that happen recently, and given the fact that we have the federal prosecutor's office locally is short 14 people at this point. I think there's a lot of pressure on them to get rid of cases that are, again, to use the language of the law, that are frivolous, that are non-meritorious. That could happen. I think right now what we're also seeing, if we look at the federal courts in Minnesota, because of all the ICE activity, there's a ton of cases being brought before judges at this point on people saying they've been unlawfully arrested, unlawfully detained. That's clogging the courts. I just mention all this because I am suspecting, at least with Don Lemon, and maybe with the protesters, that at some point the case is going to get dropped. But assume the cases are going to get dropped. But if not, the next part is going to be requiring the government to turn over evidence. There's a requirement under the Constitution. It's called the Brady Rule. And the Brady Rule requires the government to disclose all incriminating evidence and all evidence that could speak to somebody's innocence. And so over the next few weeks, there's going to be potentially a lot of material having to be turned over by the Justice Department that could really affect the case. And again, I do see at some point the defense basically making a motion to say, we want this case dismissed. And right now, and as I say to my students, I'll bet you the quarter in my pocket. I bet you the quarter in my pocket, more likely than not, that the judge dismisses the cases.
He's betting a quarter on it. David Schultz, we really do appreciate all your insights from Hamline University. Thank you so much, Professor.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks. Thanks. That's fascinating, and we'll continue to stay on top of this story. I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon, and so we'll be on it with all the latest developments on it.
For sure.
Yeah. The Harlem Globetrotters, they're coming to the Twin Cities this weekend, and then going to Rochester, and we spoke to one of the players earlier today.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been all around the world, and they decided to make a stop here at the afternoon shift before they go to the Target Center this weekend in Rochester on Monday. We'll be talking to the Harlem Globetrotters and to celebrate their 100-year anniversary coming up next on the afternoon. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. You know, Adam, we've been celebrating Black History Month all month on the show. We didn't do our little special yesterday, but to make up for it, you know, what better way to celebrate Black History Month than with the Harlem Globetrotters, the always innovative, often imitated, but never duplicated Harlem Globetrotters are celebrating their 100-year anniversary on tour, and they're making a stop at the Target Center this weekend. But before that, we are lucky enough to have a Globetrotter on the show today. Fatima TNT Lister, what's good, yo?
Hey guys, how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm great.
Well, I mean, to get it started, how did you get your start with the Harlem Globetrotters?
You know what? It was kind of random. They have a scout that goes around, and they asked me to be a part of they asked me to try out, and I'm like, well, isn't that a men's team? So I was a little bit reluctant. I was just coming back from Sweden. I played 2 years in Sweden before the Globetrotters, and I just kind of stumbled in there, and things went really well. And they offered me a contract. I had no idea like I was making history. I was just kind of in there having a good time, as the Globetrotters do. But it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, for sure.
That's so cool. Did you have all of the tricks and all of that before the scout found you, or is that something that they kind of taught you once you got with the Globetrotters?
Right. No, I had no tricks. The only tricks I had was I used to watch a lot of And One. You remember And One back in the day? Those were like Bible for me. So I used to study those. So I had like some crossovers and stuff like that, a little bit of two basketball drill stuff, but that was it. You learn the tricks after.
Shout out to Hot Sauce and the And One mixtape tour. So what's like your role with the team? Like, what if someone goes to go see the Globetrotters, what are they going to see you doing?
Yeah, so speaking of history, there was a Globetrotter named Curly Neal. He's one of the most famous Globetrotters. If you don't know him, look him up. But he was a specialist at dribbling. So I aspire to be like Curly Neal. So I do a slide dribble. I actually broke a world record for it recently. I slid 18 and a half feet while dribbling. So I'll be trying to do that, trying to do a little bit of that. So that's my specialty. I'm a dribbler. Yep.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
That's awesome. Who's the competition for the Globetrotters? Because I feel like it's always been like there was always like one team that was
the Generals.
The Generals.
Yeah.
The Generals. Did the Generals ever win the game?
No.
Listen, we're still beating up on those Generals. And they haven't won in like 40 or 50 years, and I don't want to be a part of the team that loses to the Generals again. So we're gonna make sure we take care of that part of it.
Yeah, we don't want to break that streak, especially in February. Y'all definitely can't be losing to them during Black History Month.
We can't do that.
Now you guys are on tour for the 100-year anniversary. How are you guys celebrating 100 years of Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah, this is our centennial year, and I feel really honored to be a part of the team that's representing all the 100 years that came before us. So we're making sure it's special. We have some golden basketball moments where we highlight some of the history of the Harlem Globetrotters and different barriers that we've broken and things like that. We have a fifth quarter, which means we stay out and sign autographs for all the fans or whoever wants to come down. We have some cool pregame stuff this year. We still got that 35-foot four-pointer that we're shooting, and we're gonna have a good time and make sure whether you're 2 or 92, you're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna leave with some memories that are gonna last forever.
So cool. 100 years of the global.
100 years.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The name Harlem Globetrotters, is the headquarters still in New York? Do you all still practice there and get together there, or has it become a more national thing where you have different sort of locations throughout the country?
Yeah, so now we're actually based in Atlanta, and the players, we live all over the country. Yeah. So once it's time for tour, we all fly to one location, hop on that tour bus, and start touring. So it's not only in New York anymore. We're literally Globetrotters. Like, I've been to over 70 countries. So yeah, we spread out a little bit. Yeah.
That's crazy. So I mean, off the back of that, where's some of your favorite places to play that you've been around the world?
You know what, for me, and this is going to sound weird, but New Zealand was really cool. Like, they really welcomed us. They showed us, they did a special ceremony for us to their land and things like that. And I'm really into that, experience other cultures and stuff like that. So New Zealand was cool. Australia, their neighbors. And Monaco was awesome. Monaco was beautiful.
So cool. So cool.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Some representation, some Aussie representation.
Did you play college ball, just out of curiosity?
I did. I played at Temple University in Philadelphia.
Of course. Yeah.
And I played back when Coach Staley was coaching, so I got a chance to play for Don Staley, which was awesome. So yeah. Definitely some college.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Legend.
Right.
Staley,
Seriously.
Yeah.
Legendary coach, legendary team, the Harlem Globetrotters. You guys are celebrating 100 years. Do you think you can go 100 more? You guys got some, there's the Savannah Bananas. There's all these other kind of, gimmick teams out here. Do you guys think you can go 100 more years?
Yeah, well, listen, we're doing something right because people kind of want to be, like us. So, I hope so. I hope we're gonna keep that torch lit and follow after the people who came before us. We talked about history here, and they did so much and sacrificed so much for us to be where we are. So hopefully, we're doing our job, and this will last another 100 years.
So cool.
Now, if someone is, I've never been. I grew up idolizing the Harlem Globetrotters. I grew out the afro because I wanted to be like the Harlem Globetrotters, but I've actually never had a chance to see y'all. So if someone's like me and they're going for the first time, what can they expect?
Hey, I peeped the afro. For sure. With the Globetrotters, like I said, you're gonna see some awesome dunks. You're gonna see some dribbling. You're gonna see some wizardry. You're gonna laugh a bit. And we pride ourselves. We go into the stands. We bring kids down, and we're very interactive. So we try to make it a very intimate event. So everyone feels special and everyone feels present in that moment. And this is our 100th year. So we're going all out. So bring your family down. And there's not that many events that an entire family can come to and have a good time. But we're that. So come on down and get that quality time with your family.
Hell yeah, Harlem Globetrotters
Sunday.
at the Target Center on Sunday. Go celebrate with Fatima TNT Lister. Oh, Paul, you got a question?
I was going to say, we can't forget. I mean, I know that we often do this, but the Globetrotters are in Minneapolis on the 15th, but they're also heading to Rochester on the 16th.
Yes.
Can't forget our neighbors in Rochester up there. So everybody in the land of 10,000 Lakes gets a chance to see the Harlem Globetrotters. Fatima, we really appreciate you joining the show today.
Pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. I hope you guys make it to the game too.
Absolutely. Keep making history out there. We appreciate you.
My pleasure, guys. See you there.
See ya.
The Harlem Globetrotters.
You gonna go on Sunday?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm gonna try to go, man. Like I said, I grew up idolizing them, man. I get all hard eyes when I hear anything or see anything related to the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm happy they're still around. I hope they go for 100 more years, 1,000 more years, dog.
Yeah, I dig it. And I really respect the commitment to it. Wearing full suited up here with the basketball and everything. I think
you got to.
Can you do any of the tricks?
Hell no.
You can't spin the basketball.
No, I could do a little bit. I couldn't do. I like 1 second. All I got is 1 second. I hope they don't call me from the crowd because I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna embarrass myself.
They might. She's gonna be able to spot you
not.
with the hair.
I'm gonna try to hide. Put the hood up or something because I'm gonna just go out there and embarrass myself. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. Target Center this Sunday in Rochester after that. So
for sure,
it'll be a lot of fun. 100 years of the Harlem Globetrotters.
Absolutely. Well done, and that's awesome. I hope you make it. We'll have to reconvene next week about
this. Absolutely. Hopefully there's 100 more years of the afternoon shift, but I know there'll be another segment at least. Stick with us after this.
There was another big press conference related to ICE today. We heard from Governor Walz. I believe that was yesterday, and today we heard from Mayor Fry.
Yeah, because I think he was had a scheduled thing in New York City.
That's right.
Yesterday, I'm not sure if it was a press conference here today.
It was here today. He met with Zohran, Mayor of New York, Zohran Memdani, to discuss. I think Rob was telling us about this strategies for ICE in blue major cities. Back in Minneapolis today, spoke about Operation Metro Surge and the drawdowns of federal agents with some other Minneapolis leaders. But we have the mayor's statements clipped out, and we're about to play it.
Yeah, let's hear from him himself.
Good afternoon. Yesterday, it was announced that Operation Metro Surge will be coming to an end. And at the same time, the damage caused by this operation has been staggering. We knew from the very beginning that this was not about safety. It was not even about immigration. This was about stoking fear and ultimately chaos in the communities that we love. Our communities stood up in brilliant fashion. Neighbors stood up for neighbors. Groceries were dropped off for people that were otherwise afraid to go outside. We had people standing watch on a daycare. We had Minneapolis residents and well beyond saying that what is important right now is that we are united as a large family here in Minneapolis, and we're all a part of that family. Since it began in December of 2025, this unprecedented federal escalation has upended daily life. It has eroded trust and inflicted a whole lot of harm on the operation that we need to provide as a city. The whole world's been watching. Messages from across the country have reminded us that we're not alone. And the 2 times that I have left Minneapolis, what we have been met with is a whole lot of love. People are inspired by what is taking place in Minneapolis, and I got to tell you, I'm among those that are truly inspired by the residents that have stood up. But today we're here to talk about how destructive this operation has been to our city, but also how we plan to move forward. Our city team has had boots on the ground from the very beginning, and whether that's community service officers that have delivered food to families that are in need, or an emergency operations plan that has been executed from those early days in December, to a both preemptive and responsive legal team that has been stepping up to the plate, making sure that these unconstitutional infractions are not just noticed, but we have a legal response to them. And then, of course, as part of this emergency, we've also seen great damage. Our emergency management team, led by Director Sayer, has been doing very hard and deliberate work to calculate what these damages have been while those damages are simultaneously being inflicted. At least 76,000 people are in need of urgent relief and assistance. We've seen at least $203 million in economic impact in just January alone. We were seeing somewhere between $10 and $20 million worth of losses to small and local businesses per week. Small businesses have collectively lost more than $80 million in revenue. Hotel cancellations at this point will exceed $5 million, and more than 75,000 additional people are experiencing some form of food insecurity. Thousands of school-aged children are in need of support and services. This is not even an exhaustive list. There is much more. Far beyond that, we'll ever have to comprehend. And it begs the question, was it worth it? Was this operation that has inflicted so much damage on our city that we can indeed calculate in real dollars, was it worth it? Was the chaos worth it? Was the fear worth it? Certainly, this operation did not improve safety, and it indeed decimated trust. But I know this city. Minneapolis does not let hardship define us. We define ourselves by how we rise and how we respond. Our focus must now be on moving forward and making sure that our neighbors, our businesses have our support. So we're going to do what we always have done. We're going to rebuild, we will restore trust, and we're going to move forward as a unified city. Just as Minneapolis responded when federal agents sowed chaos in our streets and disrupted daily life, what you will now see Minneapolis responding in unified fashion is we're going to step up for those small local businesses. We're going to make sure that we experience that big Minneapolis comeback in full. People from around the country have asked, what can we do to help? And the answer is, upon this Operation Metro Surge ending, come to Minneapolis. Support these local entrepreneurs. Support these immigrant-owned businesses that have added so greatly to the fabric of our communities and the fabric of these corridors. It's about the easiest ask that I could possibly make of you. Buy some incredible food. Stay at a hotel. Minneapolis is a tremendous city, one that I myself fell in love with and decided to start my life here. I am not unique. There are countless immigrants, and whether they're from Northern Virginia or Mexico or Europe, people have come to this city to start a life, and they love it. And so Minneapolis taxpayers should not be left to foot the bill of this situation that has been created by the federal government. And so we're calling on the federal government to fully step up, to provide direct financial assistance to our city, to stabilize our small businesses, and to help residents recover. Emergency response reimbursement for humanitarian assistance, infrastructure, public safety support, and then economic recovery funding. We're also asking the state of Minnesota to stand with us, to partner in securing resources, expediting relief, and ensuring we have the tools that are necessary to recover quickly. We know that Minneapolis is the economic engine of our entire state. For every $3 worth of tax revenue that Minneapolis raises, we get $1 back, and we are proud. We are proud to be that economic engine, and we are proud to help support the incredible smaller communities and towns and cities throughout our state. And at the same time, Minneapolis has experienced a great deal of duress over the last couple of months. As Minnesota, we now have the opportunity to stand together. By standing for Minneapolis, you are standing for our state. For those that are beyond Minnesota, by standing for Minneapolis, you're standing up for America. I'm going to now turn it over to Director Rachel Sayer of Emergency Management. And I just want to note, we have done a great deal of work since 2020. People have witnessed the arc of our story here locally. Following the murder of George Floyd, the subsequent unrest that we saw, we didn't just sit back on our hands. We did a whole lot of emergency preparation and work. We ran simulations. We conducted trainings, all culminating in a trip out to Emmitsburg, Maryland, where FEMA was headquartered for their simulations. And we practiced these scenarios, and this operation has been led by Director Sayer. I'm really proud of her and her team's work, and I think it sets an example for other cities to follow throughout the country. Director.
Mayor Jacob Frey talking about the end of Operation Metro Surge and the leaving of a number of federal agents out of the city of Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's kind of similar sentiments that we saw from the governor yesterday, is kind of saying, you know, taking it as a victory for the people of Minnesota and Minneapolis specifically, but also just, you know, noting that the damage is done. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube in this one, and saying that there needs to be accountability for it, not just damage to people's lives, human lives directly, but also to small businesses. Yeah,
you talk about some of the damage. People afraid to leave their homes have lost $47 million in wages each month, a monthly need of $15.7 million in rental assistance, and you just talk about local businesses, they're losing between $10 and $20 million per week in lost revenue. A lot of economic, social, and personal impacts that these last 40-ish days have been.
Absolutely, and this Minneapolis and the rest of Minnesota is going to be picking up the pieces for a lot longer than 40 days.
That's right. That's right. More to come with Operation Metro Surge as we continue with this story. We were just in Minneapolis with Mayor Fry. We're going to send it across the river over to St. Paul, where the world's toughest rodeo will be coming to town tonight and tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about that around 4:15. But I think we're doing sports.
That's right.
Coming up next.
That's right. You deserve to throw it to me.
Yeah, no problem. We'll be giving an Olympic update, NBA All-Star Weekend, as well as the Daytona 500 this weekend. All of that and more coming up next on the afternoon shift.
Back. I have an observation about the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know how many Winter Olympics in my lifetime. I've never seen a state and people care more about the Winter Olympics than they do here in Minnesota.
Absolutely. We got a lot of representation, a strong history at the Winter Olympics. And it was like 18% Team USA or something like that, you said?
Yeah. I almost feel like, is it fair to say, do you think Minnesotans care more about the Winter Olympics than even the Summer Olympics potentially? The Summer Olympics are way bigger, but I feel like the Winter, it's a personal thing here. I mean, people are locked in.
It feels like we take a little bit more personal pride in it, but I think the Summer Olympics are way more popular just in general. Yeah, there's a lot more going on with the Summer Olympics. Yeah. But here, they're pretty big deals.
It's a big deal. 4 Minnesotans have taken home medals so far. Alpine skier Paula Malzahn, the team Corey and Corey. We talked to their coach or their manager, and cross country skier Jesse Diggins, not to be confused with Jesse Pierce, but Jesse Diggins got a medal too. So that's 4 Minnesotans with medals
for sure, representing strong. And I know there's a couple of things that happened over the last 24 hours or so. The U.S. women's curling team, speaking of curling, they beat Canada for the very first time ever. I went to the 10th end. Normally, I think there's only supposed to be 8 ends, which is kind of like the rounds. Canadians
in
curling. So I think they had to go to overtime, and they made a thrilling comeback in the 10th end to beat the Canadians for the first time in 8 Olympic Games for the ladies. So shout out to the U.S. women's curling team. That was last night. But today, right now, there's all types of events going on right now. The U.S. women's hockey team, sticking with the women's sports, they're facing off against the home country of Italy. And last I checked, I think it was 6-0.
6-0.
6-0. So again, you can't touch this. Would be a great goal song for this team. No team can even seem to barely even score on them. They're running away with it, even against their rivals like Canada. I mean, the U.S. women's hockey team is the clear and by far favorites to take home the gold this year.
Yeah, outscored their opponents, I think now 26-1 so far in the Olympics. It's incredible. They are on a crash course. They would play Canada again in the gold medal match if they both get there. And so maybe Canada will give them a little bit of a better shot, you would think. But I don't know. I don't know. They're teeing off on people right now.
And the Canadians haven't fared well in the men's game or the women's game, because the men's Canadian team got spanked by Team USA as well on the way up to leading up to this. So it's looking like the U.S. men's and women's team could take home the gold. Speaking of gold, Ilya Malinin. Probably maybe I feel like every Olympics has some people that are kind of put in the spotlight, right? Especially on for each country. I would say for this year's Winter Olympic Games, I would argue that Ilya Malinin has been the kind of sponsor, the like mascot for Team USA, almost the main character of the Winter Olympics. He's a men's figure skater known as the Quad God, nickname for his quadruple jumps. Yeah, if you saw him over the weekend, he was the guy that was doing backflips on the ice. Not a lot of people can do that, and he's just absolutely incredible. Again, if you look him up, he looks the part. It looks like something out of Blades of Glory. He's got the long flowing hair. He's got the amazing costumes and everything. And it looks like he's getting ready. He's either going right now or he's getting ready to go in the men's figure skating final. And from what I've read, it looks like as long as he doesn't anything catastrophic happens, it's like he's pretty on course for some gold. Again, he's one of the best of the best on Team USA. Check this out. He's the first and only skater to successfully land a fully rotated quadruple axel in international competition, and he's been able to perform it multiple times since. Again, the Quad God. So it looks like he might take home some gold today.
Yes.
Max, your timing was so impeccable. You mentioned that he might be heading out onto the ice soon, and he is currently being pre-interviewed. Don't turn over. Stay where you are. Stay with us.
Yes.
We don't need to send you anywhere else. I just wanted to highlight the fact that you're on top of it. He's literally about to go out, I think. He's being interviewed either before he's going out or just after he's got off the ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But stay here on the afternoon.
Stay here on the afternoon shift. You can always catch the replays.
I can always just see it from here and just tell you what's happening.
We'll just have Paul do play-by-play.
Yes.
We'll just have Paul do.
Watch us live. You never know what happens here live.
Right. Exactly. We're just as exciting. We can make some history.
Leonard's off today, but you may walk through.
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen. It's live television. That stuff isn't live. I mean, it's they're taping it. So it's none of it's live anyways.
You can make up some really fun names for this figure skating. That's one of my favorite things when you watch the summer games and you watch the gymnastics. It's just like there's names for all of these things that look like someone's just kind of rolling around on the ground, but there's like a technical name for it.
Yeah.
We could come up with some fun ones.
Yeah, we could.
Like a whoop-de-dooey or something.
Yeah.
I wish we could do some play-by-play, but the Olympic Athletic Committee, they do not mess around with.
Yeah, we can't even put up AP images or saying happy birthday on the.
I'm surprised we could even say the word Olympics. Yeah, I mean we might get taken off the air for that. I mean it's almost Super Bowl-esque. You got to say the big game.
The big game.
The big game.
Yes.
Obviously you could hear from the accent right there. Paul is Australian. One of his countrymen took home silver in the men's snowboard half pipe final
Aussie.
this afternoon. You guys, how are you guys doing in the Winter Olympics? Do you guys even care about the Winter Olympics there? No, not really.
We call it the Winter Olympics and the real Olympics in Australia, which does not go down well in my household as a Minnesotan and an Australian. But Australia does not, probably unsurprising, we are not the biggest. We're not very good on ice or very good on snow. I mean, there are people that are, but generally that's not our forte. We have 2 gold total ever in history, or from. Grace is telling me we've got 2 gold medals.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, shout out to Australia. You got another silver medal in tow as well. Japan took the gold and the bronze in the men's snowboard halfpipe final. I think they got fourth too. Japan just dominating the men's snowboard halfpipe final this afternoon. There was also a calzone delivering drone.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah,
probably a good calzone in Italy.
Yeah, probably. It looked pretty sweet. So all types of stuff happening in the tech world and in the athletic world of the Olympics.
Let's look here. Here it is. We're still just dominating the silver medal, everybody.
Yeah, killing it in the silver medal count. Yeah, just a few medals behind in the medal total. But does that, and possibly 5 after in just a little short bit here. If Ilya Malinin can take home the gold in the men's figure skating final.
And the shape of that top 5 hasn't really changed over the last couple of days. But today we did see France creep in there, bump Germany back to position 5, and knock Sweden out of that.
And there's some controversy with France getting their gold medal, their most recent gold medal. There's some controversy in the ice dancing.
Oh, what happened?
On the ice dancing competition yesterday. A lot of people, they're stopping short of saying the word cheating, but they are accusing them of, maybe possibly need to explain their judging, because a lot of people think Team USA is Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. It sounded pretty much everybody's saying visually it looked like they had a lot cleaner of a performance, a lot more technically, savvy of a performance, technically impressive performance. But they got a much lower score than France's Laurence Fournier and Guillaume Saison, who claimed the gold. A lot of people think that because the French team had visible mistakes, it didn't seem as impressive, but they got much higher scores, particularly from a French judge. So there's lots of controversy there. Yeah, and then the Team USA called for more transparent judging, as well as the judges to be vetted. But from what I've read, I just saw headlines afterward. I saw their quotes immediately after, but from the headlines following, it kind of sounds like the Olympics is sticking by the defending the judge and his right to score it that way. But I think a lot of the fans are going, we're not buying it.
I heard that there's some sort of controversy about how long the French couple have been skating together as well. Like the Americans have been skating together for a long time. Actually, husband and wife. Found that out when they finished their routine and they gave each other a big smooch. But up until that point, I was pro the French because I was looking at them going, they looked really, like the dance was really good. And then the romantic in me saw the husband and wife kiss at the end of it. And I was like, you know what, give it to the Americans. Imagine that, dancing, imagine going to work and being with your partner and dancing with them on ice every single day and then potentially winning a gold medal with them. That would be beautiful.
That's a love story.
It does have to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's your sort of your obviously we're all rooting for Team USA.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like who's your next nation that you kind of go for?
I go for Japan for sure. That's like Japan holds a special place in my heart. I kind of find myself rooting for almost any country that I've visited. Like if I see a country that I've been to, I kind of find I have a fondness in my heart for it to some degree. Except probably Italy. I mean, you won't find me rooting for Italy necessarily, but no shot at the Italians. Yeah, Rome was a little underwhelming, but I do find. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, the Vatican is amazing, but the Vatican is his own country. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, that's in jest. I do find myself a fondness for every country that I've visited, but I do. Japan definitely is my second. How about you?
I'm Spain because that's where my last name comes from. You don't hear anything about the Spanish in the Winter Olympics.
No.
They're like non-existent.
I haven't even heard them mentioned.
I haven't heard them not even mentioned, not even once.
Not even one time.
I wonder if they have a medal. Maybe Grace. I don't know. Can you see? Do the Spaniards have a medal?
They gotta have something.
I don't hear anything out of my countrymen and women over there. Nothing. Oh well.
I'm always a fan of like Burkina Faso.
Zero. Yeah.
Zero medals.
Or how about the unrepresented, the people that represent no countries?
Yeah, right.
For sure. I think even they have a medal.
Yeah.
Spain has zeros across the board.
Isn't that technically Russia is technically one of the non-country representations? I think I could be wrong.
We're getting into the political side of the Olympics that I don't completely understand.
I think they are, but I could be wrong.
Break it down next week.
I do want to unpack this Italy thing though a little bit more. This is
it's
interesting.
Just okay. Was
the pasta good?
No, it was okay. Rome. I'm not the only person on planet Earth that thinks that Rome is underwhelming. A lot of people don't have the best time in Rome. The best part of my trip to Rome was the Vatican. Certainly, I very much enjoed the Vatican.
I would like just the bread and the pasta and the wine.
It's not Rome is way more touristy than you think.
Yeah.
And the Italian people are not necessarily known for their friendliness tourists.
They're not Minnesotans,
They're not Minnesotans, and they certainly At least they act like they've never seen someone like me before.
Oh,
yeah. So I had some interesting experiences over in Italy, but I met a lot of cool people. Most of them happened to not be from Italy, but I met a lot of cool people. And Italy's cool. I gotta explore the country a little bit more. I know a lot of people say that Rome is not representative of the rest of the country and its beauty.
Yes. Let's go on to the NBA All-Star Game. It's this weekend at the brand new Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. They've revamped the Sunday matchup. It's now World versus USA.
Yeah, trying to follow in the footsteps kind of the NHL that had the Four Nations face-off last year, to much fanfare. Don't think it's going to go quite the same for the NBA. I'm not sure if the NBA All-Star Game is truly fixable. That's kind of all All-Star games have kind of gone the way of the dinosaur. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl anymore. I was talking about it, with some people around the office today. I genuinely used to watch the Pro Bowl. Like I used to love watching the Pro Bowl. It was like the last gasp of football. It was always the week after the Super Bowl for a while, and you'd see guys like Sean Taylor out there leveling dudes like they actually cared.
Yeah, the punter,
yeah, for sure. I remember seeing Kobe and LeBron go at it in the All-Star game, and it seemed like it actually mattered. Michael Jordan, he's one of those guys that he's not playing any basketball game where it doesn't matter. He's going all out all the time. Whereas nowadays, you guys kind of see guys just lackadaisical. You're seeing scores like 220 to 250 or whatever the hell. So it's not quite the most enticing and captivating product, but maybe this USA versus World thing will be a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to like watching the All-Star game and the three-point contest.
Yeah,
and
for
all
sure.
That.
And that's still going down tomorrow. They got the three-point contest tomorrow. Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard. They're bringing back the Shooting Stars competition that people might remember. It went for almost over a decade, where you have a team. It's usually two current players
of city. They represent cities.
Yeah. I think this year they kind of changed it to they can kind of various themes and whatnot, but there's two current players and then usually a retired player, NBA player or WNBA player, and they kind of have a shooting contest to shoot from 7 different spots, and then I think there's 2 rounds and whatnot. So they're bringing back the Shooting Stars competition. One of the teams, for example, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, former Minnesota Timberwolf, and Allen Houston, Team Knicks legend Allen Houston. The dunk contest, I mean, forget about it. The dunk, nobody cares about the dunk contest.
Yeah, it used to mean something.
The dunk contest was awesome, and like literally the best and brightest stars. I mean, think about the duels that Michael Jordan had in the dunk contest with Dominique Wilkins. Think about Kobe Bryant was in the dunk contest. Even kind of just like the silliness of when we were growing up, and guys like Dwight Howard making the costume changes. Nate Robinson jumping over guys like Shaq, and Blake Griffin jumping over a car. Zach LaVine was former Minnesota Timberwolves. Zach LaVine was in one of the best dunk contests of all time. It used to really mean something, but for whatever reason, I hate to blame LeBron James, but he kind of was the one to buck the trend of, you got your Michael Jordans, you got your Kobe Bryants, and then LeBron James always said, no, I don't want to do it. And pretty much ever since then, none of the superstars really want to do it. And it kind of does seem like, I don't know, not to sound like an old man shaking his fist at the clouds, maybe we've reached our capacity for dunks. It kind of seems like nobody has any new dunks, creative dunks. Yeah, it's just kind of the same thing. And we got, the last, I think last 2-3 dunk contests, Mac McClung won it. He doesn't even play in the NBA. He plays in the G League. Yeah. And listen to these guys right now. That are Carter Bryant, Jace Richardson, Jackson Hayes, and Kashad Johnson. I could have just made those names up. Somebody could have made those names up. I wouldn't have known if they were players at all besides Jackson Hayes. I've heard his name, but those are nobodies. Not even just mid-level players, literal nobodies. No offense to them and their families. Nobody knows who the hell you guys are. And we want to see people that we know in the dunk contest. Honestly, one of the best parts of the All-Star Weekend, it used to be one of the worst parts, it's the celebrity game. The celebrity game is always fun.
Of course.
Yeah, I know the NBA made it a point to invite a lot of streamers and content creators out there.
It's a lot of what's his name though. I don't care.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
it has turned into a lot of Kevin Hart. But there's a fun lineup this year, possibly Keegan Michael Key of Key and Peele fame and Mad TV fame. Shams Sharania, the NBA insider, I'm sure he better have a good game or he's going to get clowned. People are going to be posting his highlights every single time there's a Shams bomb.
Yeah.
Taylor Frankie Paul. from the Mormon Housewives reality TV show. A lot of people know her. I think she was on Dancing with the Stars as well. Suns front office man Matt Ishbia, which people might be like, well, why the hell are you talking about him? He was rumored to buy the Twins for a long time. He was rumored. He was one of the big marquee names that was rumored to be in conversation to buy the Twins. But then I believe it was his, he had connections and ownership with stake with the White Sox that kind of prevented that. And then the Twins ended up not being for sale anyways. And then Jeremy Lin, they always throw some actual they throw some ex-NBA players in there and WNBA players in there all the time. And so Jeremy Lin, Linsanity, maybe trying to recapture the magic one more time.
Okay, all right. And then right here on Fox 9 on Sunday, the Daytona 500.
Yes, the 68th Great American Race will go down on Sunday. It starts off the NASCAR season. Bart Simpson is actually waving the green flag. It's kind of like, hockey has the Let's Play Hockey. The Vikings have like the Gallarhorn, and every team kind of has their thing of getting the race started, getting the fun started. And I think it's always kind of like the green flag. Not that I don't think that's the checkered flag is where you actually go, but the green flag is kind of a ceremonial thing, and it'll be I'm assuming it's not the actual Bart Simpson coming out of the screen come to life. It'll be a guy in a costume pretending to be Bart Simpson to commemorate the Simpsons having their 800th episode on Sunday. 800th episode. A lot of people like The Simpsons are still on. The Simpsons are still on, and they're having their 800th episode also on Fox on Sunday night.
Fox. Those are Simpsons are standouts for Fox.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Busch will be in the pole position to start the race. As you know, I mean, you're a huge NASCAR guy.
I don't miss a race.
Yeah, Kyle Larson, reigning NASCAR Cup champion. I believe he's won the last 2 years. Actually, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, they're tied for favorites to win at 12-1. William Byron, he's actually won it back-to-back years. He's going for the a three-peat. He'd be the first ever NASCAR driver to three-peat
Daytona.
Yeah, William Byron. So that's exciting. Weirdly, he's not really like I don't get how the odds necessarily are formulated for NASCAR because, like I just said, Kyle Busch is in pole position. William Byron has won back-to-back Daytona 500s, but they're not the favorites for whatever reason. Denny Hamlin, he was near the top of the favorites. He has the most active wins at the Daytona among active NASCAR drivers right now. He's got 3, and as most people fans of the sport know, Richard Petty has the most all-time wins with 7 all-time Daytona 500 wins on the 500, and the 500 obviously comes from it's a 500-mile long track.
That's right. My biggest memory of the Daytona 500, shortly after my family, we moved from Southern California to Tennessee, Daytona 500, Dale Earnhardt. And it's, I don't know if famously is the right word, but notably died.
Infamously
died. That Monday was like a statewide day morning in Tennessee. And I think it was a little bit of a culture shock for us because we were like, whoa. And that was a thing. I mean, people stopped in their tracks. That was a huge deal when that happened. So I definitely remember that day.
It cannot be overstated what Dale Earnhardt not just meant to the sport of racing, but to Southern culture in general, Southern sports culture in general. I mean, he was basically a demigod to the people of the South and the people of the whole country. He's probably the most popular racer of all time. I just recently watched a really invigorating and captivating documentary about him that's on Amazon Prime. I think it's just called Earnhardt, and it's incredible about his life. And that last episode is really it's gut wrenching, man. They got Dale Jr. talking about it and everything, and you kind of you see everybody go through it, and then obviously just the progression through his career. I mean, that's kind of his style. When you hear about the greatest of all time, you think of kind of them having like the crazy skill, the crazy finesse, and it's not like Dale didn't have that, but he was a fighter. He was out there causing all types of accidents. He was an aggressive driver. It's unfortunate that it ended the way it did because he meant a whole lot to a lot of people.
He sure did. We're excited for the Daytona 500 to be here on Fox 9, and we're also excited now for the rodeo to come to St. Paul this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be at Grand Casino Arena this weekend, and we're going to talk to a rodeo clown involved in the whole production to give us a lowdown on what fans can expect at Grand Casino Arena starting tonight and tomorrow. The world's toughest rodeo is coming to St. Paul, and a commercial break is coming at you right now. In the meantime, there'll be a little bit more afternoon shift coming up next.
Oh, it's time for the rodeo in St. Paul.
The Cinch's world's toughest rodeo will be having a hoedown of a time down at Grand Casino Arena tonight and tomorrow. And we got Garrison Panzer, a production manager for the rodeo, joining us on the show today. What's good, Garrison?
How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. How about you?
Fantastic. Even better that we have dirt in this building on top of ice, that we're just a couple hours away from the first performance this weekend. Things are shaping up good.
Garrison, how'd you get your start in the rodeo business?
Oh, actually, I grew up in it, so I really didn't have a choice. I had to follow in the footsteps of Dad and Granddad, and wanted to be a judge, but found out that apparently I talk a little too much to do that. So started to be an announcer, production manager, music director, every role possible.
Garrison, what goes into being a rodeo announcer like you are? You got a great voice for it. How do you become that?
Well, I think the first step would probably be finding somebody brave enough to give a new guy, and in my case, a kid, a chance to announce a rodeo. I started out, it was the summer before my senior year of high school back in 2015. So the guy that gave me my start, I've known him my whole life. He needed an announcer for one event. He said, I'll give you a chance. If you like it, we can maybe do some more. And I was hooked, loved it, and wanted to do more, wanted to be more knowledgeable about the production side of it. And it eventually led to me doing music and being production manager, which top to bottom, start to finish, trying to help the team do the best they can to produce the best event possible.
And Garrison, what animal is that doing background vocals for you? Is that a hog? Is that a cow? We can hear something back there.
Well, I don't know if you can tell behind me in the back pens, we have our bucking horses, we have our bulls. I don't know if I'm supposed to be walking to do this or not. I can take you back to show you, but we have them all loaded up here inside the Grand Casino Arena.
Well, won't you take us behind the?
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's go. All right, I'll take you with me. We'll go on a journey here, and I'll show you our back pen set up for all the livestock that we bring into town and be able to put on display for these people. So they come from all over South Dakota, from Minnesota. So they're resting up right now. They're getting ready. One notable thing about it, our Super Bowl in the sport of rodeo is called the National Finals Rodeo. And on this bucking horse's backside, if you can see that it has some tags on there that said that horse was at the Super Bowl of our sport of rodeo. So not only are you going to get the best cowboys, some of the best cowgirls in the area as well, but you've got the best bucking stock too.
Wow. So, Garrison? What happens if you're dealing with animals here? You never know what's going to happen. Sometimes things go awry. What happens when something goes wrong? Like, what is the protocol there?
Well, the biggest piece of advice, or the biggest thing to take into consideration and remember, is don't panic. It's going to be okay. But the best thing to do is secure the animal if you can. Make sure all the personnel are safe. Our team's outstanding, from the gate guys to the ones that are sorting in the back pens. All of them having 10 different jobs and still being great at them all. But we have contingencies in place. But the most important thing that we want the takeaway to be for every fan is the animals' welfare is our first and foremost thought. That's the biggest thing that is probably misconceived across the board for rodeo and our sport is, these horses and bulls, yes, they cost a lot of money, but they're part of our family, and we want them to be happy, healthy. I can tell you right now, as much as I'm stressed and sweating how this performance is going to go right now, these guys right here are calm, cool, collected. They don't have a care in the world. They get to work for 8 seconds only tonight, and then they're going to go back and get fed. So I think they're doing pretty good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Garrison, what makes this the world's toughest rodeo? What goes into that?
I think the best way to describe it is that you get the rough stock athletes, which are arguably the toughest of any rodeo athlete. Bareback riders, we call it the most physically demanding event in sport. Saddle bronc riding, that's the classic event, kind of where it all started. And the most thrilling 8 seconds that everybody wants to see is the bull riding. And in reality, it's as close as you're going to get to the modern day Colosseum of the Romans and the gladiators and man versus beast. And so you really have to be tough and be able to grit it out and last the full 8 on a bucking horse or a bull.
Garrison, so what kind of, I've never had the chance to be lucky enough to go to the rodeo. Like what kind of, what can fans expect? What kind of events do you guys got going on?
So the three main events, the barebacks, saddles, and bulls, and then we'll barrel race. We have some local ladies from here in Minnesota. They're going to come and do the barrel racing, which is cloverleaf pattern around 3 barrels, either one to the right, 2 to the left, 1 to the left, 2 to the right. We have mutton busting this year, and also featured at this year's St. Paul Stop is award-winning, one of the most decorated and all-time greatest rodeo clown and entertainer, Justin Rumford, who I apologize was not able to be on with you guys today. And then also Summer Boyd and her daughters will perform trick riding, which is an art form that's been around for decades and is one of those things that once you see it, you want to see it more and more, and they're never going to get enough of.
Yeah, we were looking forward to talking to Justin, too. Well, what's the purpose of a rodeo clown? I was looking into this.
Well, if you ask the rodeo clown, I think he'd say his purpose is to bring the talent and skills to the event and bring a level of sophistication and authenticity to the event. Now, if you ask any of us, we just say he's an overpriced guy that talks too much. But I can say that because Justin's not anywhere near me right now. But no, his job is to give the fans a little more lighthearted experience, more funny, more comical, and just the jesting back and forth between the announcer, maybe picking on some fans, even if we are feeling spicy. But they are a great asset for us to be able to incorporate our sponsors. He's got a lot of giveaways that fans could potentially win tonight or tomorrow night, and they're able to bring a lot to the table that's outside of the competition.
Garrison, I think a lot of people just stereotypically tend to associate the rodeo with the southern region of the country, right? Yep. So I'm curious, when you guys tour around places like the Midwest, what's the turnout like?
Turnout's great. St. Paul, matter of fact, this tour has been around since 1979. And St. Paul was one of the very first tour stops that the original owner and founder did when he started the world's toughest rodeo. And it's been around ever since. Columbus, Ohio, we get massive crowds. Des Moines, Iowa, Columbia, South Carolina, there at the University of South Carolina. We've been to places like Charlottesville, Virginia, Bakersfield, California. We're going to Louisville, Kentucky. It's kind of a niche, a crowd that is hungry for what is great about this country and the icon of the American cowboy. And you may be a hockey fan at heart, you may be a Vikings fan at heart or football fan, but the Cowboys, just like I said, iconic. It's what the West was won on. It's all the movies that you think of with John Wayne and Will Rogers and Roy Rogers, and you get to see the real life versions today battling it out.
I love it. Where can people get tickets if they don't have them yet?
You can go straight to Ticketmaster or worldstoughtestrodeo.com. That'll teach you a little bit more about our tour. It'll also teach you a little bit about some of the events that we have here. And then you'll be able to find the ticket link straight through there.
Love it.
Garrison, good luck tonight. Thanks for joining the show and giving us a little behind-the-scenes peek.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
That is Garrison Panzer, which is a great name.
That is a great
guy
name.
In the rodeo. Just a great name in general. Garrison Panzer, production manager for Cinch's World's Toughest Rodeo, which you can see tonight at Grand Casino Arena as well as tomorrow evening as well. Little Valentine's Day rodeo.
You'll be there tomorrow evening. That's how you spend your Valentine's Day.
Hey, maybe. Why not? I'd be down to watch
Pull up,
it.
go to Casetas before.
Yeah, nothing's more romantic than the rodeo.
I've never been to a rodeo. I'd like to go to a rodeo one time. And it looks cool. And seeing all that livestock, I want to know how they get all that dirt inside the arena.
I know, just like right on top of the ice and everything.
Crazy.
I would very much like to see one of those. Like when it's
the time lapse.
Yeah, the time lapse of how they get that together for sure. The people at Grand Casino, I almost said the XL Energy Center. The people at Grand Casino Arena, they're true pros.
No doubt. We are going to talk a little Black history coming up next. We've picked out 2 different people. We're gonna profile them coming after this break.
For sure. We've been trying to do it as much as we can during Black History Month. Bring a spotlight to maybe some lesser known Black historical figures throughout U.S. history.
That's right. We'll have those right after this. is Black History Month, and we're continuing to celebrate Black history here on the afternoon shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Past, present, future Black history. We're celebrating it all right here on the afternoon shift.
That's right. That's right. You want me to kick this off again?
Sure.
I'll kick it off again. I'm going to go today with my profile. I'm going to go with Sandy Stevens, the first black quarterback in Minnesota Gophers history, your alma mater.
Yeah.
The first black quarterback to ever be named an All-American at any university nationwide.
Wow.
Sandy Stevens finished fourth in the Heisman voting in 1961. 1961 Big Ten MVP. Led the Gophers to the last national championship that you all had in 1960. I didn't realize that the Gophers had a slew of claimed national titles from way back when.
Absolutely.
1960 was the last one. Sandy Stevens was the quarterback, and I think if you just go back in time and picture America in 1960, having a black quarterback lead your team to the national championship game and win the national title, a big deal. Much bigger deal than it would be today, certainly. So
I mean, it's still a big deal
it
today.
still is.
I mean, absolutely. The quarter, maybe no position in team sports
That's
was
right.
viewed as the white man's position more than the quarterback, the starting quarterback in the NFL. I think the common not criticism, but the kind of racist logic or pseudo logic that a lot of people would use is that black people just weren't intelligent enough to be quarterbacks. But obviously that's been proven wrong a million times over now. But yeah, Sandy was obviously in an unenviable position in 1961, certainly.
That's right. He's the only quarterback to ever take the Gophers to the Rose Bowl twice of any race.
Wow.
He's the only one to go there twice with the Gophers. 1961, 1962, they went 1-1. They won one, lost one of those games. Also, I found this interesting. One of the first Minnesota recruits, again, of any race, to not be from the state of Minnesota. He was from the Pittsburgh area, and that's how sought after he was to bring here to the Gophers program. They went all the way to Pennsylvania to go get him and bring him here. Member of the University of Minnesota Sports Hall of Fame. The Minnesota Star Tribune, shortly after the turn of the century in 2000, ranked their top 100 sports people in Minnesota history of the 20th century. He was ranked number 30,
Wow.
Sandy Stevens. So one of the most important players in Minnesota Gophers history, College Football Hall of Fame inductee in 2011, Rose Bowl Hall of Fame inductee for all of his efforts bringing the Gophers there as well. And certainly not a name that I knew when I woke up this morning, but was digging around trying to find somebody creative, and Sandy Stevens, I landed on him, and I'm sure many of you at home might be familiar with Sandy Stevens' story. If you're Minnesota Gophers fans, if you've been to Gophers football games, you probably hear a lot about him. But nationally, I feel like we don't hear a lot about him. The first black quarterback to ever be an All-American at any university, it happened right here at the University of Minnesota with Sandy Stevens. So I tip my hat to him and the Minnesota football program for having the confidence to bring him on. And Minnesota, we just talked about PJ Fleck getting his contract re-up. They're chasing another national championship. The last one was won with Sandy Stevens as quarterback.
Maybe they need to get another black quarterback up in the mix or something. But we actually, you said a lot of people might be familiar. A lot of people aren't.
Probably not.
We don't get to hear a whole lot about this stuff. And we even talked about it. What was it? The Gophers were in one of the first college. Was it football or basketball games?
College basketball games.
I mean, the Gophers have a story. Gophers athletics have a storied history.
Yes.
And Sandy Stevens is right in front and center at that.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
So
Yes.
shout out to Sandy Stevens. I'm also going with a historical figure that was a first, Bessie Coleman. She was the first black woman and first Native American to hold a pilot's license in the United States, and is the earliest known black person to hold an international pilot's license.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bessie Coleman paving the way, for the Tuskegee Airmen and lots of subject. I mean, black American people have a very honorable and storied legacy when it comes to the field of aviation.
Yes, they do.
And Bessie was among the first, born to a family of sharecroppers in Texas. She worked in cotton fields when she was young. She attended one semester of college. She was always interested in aviation, but she couldn't find anybody. Clearly, at the time that she was born, she couldn't find anybody to teach a young black woman. I mean, she's born in 1892. Imagine trying to find anybody in the United States that's willing to teach a young black woman learn how to fly a plane.
No.
So she ended up, departing and going over to France. That's where she kind of, saved up, and she got some sponsorships. She saved up and went to flight school out there. She also received more advanced training in the Netherlands and Germany as well, meeting with some top-level, aviation scientists and designers, because she didn't just want to be a pilot. She wanted to be a trick pilot, a stunt pilot. And at the time, aviation is still in its early phases. It's a rather novel thing. Not a whole lot of people had a whole lot of information. Information wasn't just widely accessible about the stuff. You had to learn from the masters, learn from the best of the best. So she went over to France to get her pilot's license, came back to the United States, wanted to do the stunt flying. Once again, ran into the problem of finding nowhere to learn that. So she went back to France, learned a little bit more there, went to the Netherlands, went to Germany, and she became a high-profile pilot for her notoriously dangerous air show. She was known by Queen Bess, Brave Bessie, and she was billed as the world's greatest woman flyer. She was a huge draw. A huge draw all around the world for 5 years. Planes were relatively novel. She toured around the world. She never performed on any aviation shows that didn't allow black people in the audience. I read a story about her one time. She was cast to be in an early film, and then she found out she had to be kind of dressed in stereotypical, kind of tattered, almost slave-like African, kind of like, stereotypically African, clothing. And she said, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that." So she always wanted to make sure she was representing black people in the highest regard. She toured around the country, speaking to all different people, a lot of black people in a lot of black communities and black schools, just kind of, talking about her aviation dreams and trying to recruit more black people into the field of aviation. She had hoped to start a school for black flyers. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to do that because she died in a plane crash in 1926. Again, she's doing some really, dangerous stuff. That'd be dangerous by today's standards. Definitely back in 1926. So she had been in crashes before. She was able to survive them and get out of it. But this one, she was pretty much dead on impact, and she died at age 34 in Jacksonville, Florida. And again, she didn't get a chance to ever open up that school that she wanted to, but she inspired thousands, if not millions, of other black pilots. And again, Native American. Shout out. She was also a Native American, of Native American heritage as well. Tons of different, pioneers, black pioneers in the field of aviation have shouted her out, have thanked her, have, recognized her as inspiration. So she may not have opened a school, but I think her influence actually had, a way wider reach than if she had. So shout out to Bessie Coleman, paving the way for people, blacks in aviation, in the aviation world, and just in general, and women in the aviation world in general. I probably wouldn't be able to visit all the countries that I visited without a person like Bessie Coleman.
No doubt. And you mentioned her not performing at any aviation shows that didn't allow an integrated audience. Just imagine segregating an aviation show. You're looking up at the sky.
Right. But that's everything.
Like a restaurant, like you're like, okay, like whatever, like you're like sitting, you're looking up at the sky, and you're like it's like
segregating anything, drinking fountains, bathrooms, restaurants, entertainment. It's just we lived in an absolutely backwards time.
Segregating people looking up at the sky.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Every facet of American life was segregated and divided, and black people found themselves on the lesser end of that segregation and those divides. So luckily, we're ostensibly more united today than we were back then, but we still face a lot of problems in that regard.
Yeah, you mentioned she passed away in 1926. Obviously, that's 100 years ago now, so it's been 100 years since we lost her. And you said she was only 34 years old. I'm turning 34.
I know.
In a couple weeks here in 2026. So I just think about, man, like I'm pretty much in her shoes, and you're not that far off either.
No.
And so
and
it's
just I like to think I got a lot more life, and think about all the things, the beautiful things that she could have done had she been, able to live longer and influence even more people and inspire newer and younger generations. But unfortunately, she was gone too soon. But she lived the life she wanted to live. She was a high flyer. She drew people all around the world, and it was very inspirational for someone like her to be doing that at that time.
Yeah, and obviously the technology difference back then as compared to what we have today.
For sure.
I mean, geez, like the fact that she was able to do all of. I mean, it's just like it's amazing.
It's incredible. It takes just a high level of skill and dedication. And again, it wasn't like she could just, like right now, if I wanted to become a pilot, I could go online, I could apply to pilot school, probably get accepted because they need pilots really badly right now. But she had to go all the way to France. And again, it's not like she could just fly over there on a Delta flight. She had to take a real long trip over to France, find someone willing to teach her, and then again, even that wasn't enough. She wanted it to go first. She wanted advanced knowledge. She wanted it to go further. She wanted to test her skills to the best of her abilities, and she did that until the day of her death.
No doubt. Good. That was well done on both ends here. And I had never, admittedly, I never heard of Bessie Coleman until now. So that's great. So, that's
the whole point of this segment.
I love it. We are going to be learning about some history behind Valentine's Day. It's coming up tomorrow. It's tomorrow, the 14th.
That is true.
Some history on Valentine's Day coming up right after. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. This begs the question: what's your favorite love song of all time?
Ooh, man, I don't know if there's a lot of really good love songs throughout history. I'd have to sit on that one for a little bit. What about you?
I got a couple candidates. I'm gonna go "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys.
Okay.
Great song.
Yeah, for sure.
How about "Love" by Keisha Cole? You know this song.
Absolutely.
That's a great one. And then "LOVE" by Nat King Cole.
That is a really good one.
And then how about "This Will Be an Everlasting Love"? I don't know the name of that one, but that's from the Parent Trap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
That's a beautiful one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Stevie Wonder has a lot. There's a lot of beautiful ones. My Cherie Amour, although it's a little bit more, morose, I guess, for a love song. Growing up, I used to love "You Should Let Me Love You."
Oh,
let
great! Yeah,
me be the one to. Yeah, I used to love that one. Obviously, Michael Jackson's got "I Can't Wait," Human Nature, and whatnot. So there's a lot of good ones out there. there.
He had a duet with Justin Timberlake that got released posthumously. Love Never Felt So Good. You ever heard this song?
No, I don't think I have.
Great song, duet with Justin, posthumous release by Michael Jackson. Great song. Here in Minneapolis today, you could get married for free at Hennepin County Government Center. And L.A., Lauren Adrigo was there. She saw 2 people get married.
Yeah, we haven't had L.A. on the show in a while, and she was able to catch a couple right before they were about to tie the knot. Let's throw it out to L.A. at the courthouse.
The weekend leading up to Valentine's Day, free weddings here. And today, at least 24 couples will be taking Hennepin County up on their offer, saying I do here at this beautiful building. We're on the 14th floor bridge deck overlooking downtown Minneapolis. And I want to introduce you to the first couple who just got married minutes ago. And I'm so honored we got to witness it. Jessica and Mark, first of all, congratulations. We've got to start with your love story. You've known each other for a couple years, but tell me about when you got engaged.
Yeah, so we've been together for about 4.5 years, and we were at home, and on December 30th, Mark decided to pop the question, and I was super excited and said yes, and then we went out and got some Chinese food.
That sounds like a lovely engagement if you ask me. So a 6-week engagement. What made you decide you want to come here, the Friday before Valentine's Day and do it here at the courthouse?
I think we'd both heard about this event before and maybe even seen it on the news in the past and thought, why not? This seems like fun. So.
It's absolutely lovely. So what locked it in for you, Jessica, that Mark was the one?
Oh, he plays guitar and he sings and plays to me all the time, and so I melt for that.
Wow. Okay, Mark, same question for you.
She's one of a kind. She's just so sweet, and she's the light. She's just. Yeah, she completes me.
Can you even believe this? I can see the love in your faces. I can see the joy here. You can hear the romantic guitar music behind us. Tell me about this. This is a very special bouquet.
Oh, yeah. So Mark's daughter, Veda, made me these flowers this morning as a bouquet because I just had some cheap plastic ones, and she put this together herself and gave it to us this morning.
So thoughtful. And you guys have a honeymoon planned for the weekend, a beautiful weekend to get out and celebrate love. Tell me about what you'll be doing this weekend.
Some friends of ours are playing in a band called Hot Tamale Cosmos up in Duluth tonight.
Yep,
tonight
at
the Bent Paddle. So we're going to go check that out, and then we're going to spend tomorrow just
maybe tubing on Spirit Mountain.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Having fun in Duluth.
Yeah,
It sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, I have one more question for you because it's the season of love, the season of engagement. What is your word of advice for couples about finding the right one?
Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe don't force it. Just enjoy your time, and when it's right, it's right.
Mark?
Yeah, just keep swiping right.
That is the contemporary answer, Mark. Mark and Jessica, congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us interview you 5 minutes after you got married. I've never done that before. Thank you. Congratulations. Safe travels up to Duluth and have so much fun.
I learned a couple things from Mark there. Keep swiping right.
Keep swiping right. Learn how to play the guitar.
Play the guitar and go get Chinese takeout after you pop the big question.
Absolutely.
I'm taking notes.
Hot Tamale Cosmos. That is a great.
In Duluth.
That is a great band name.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal band name.
Is that what you're going to do for your honeymoon? Go to
Hot Tamale Cosmos. Yeah.
I'm
go
not making
tubing.
fun. I'm not making
and
fun.
go tubing. No, that was awesome. That was really cool.
What is tubing on the lake? I thought it's winter time.
No, you go on the snow. You going on the hill.
People do that in the snow.
You've never heard of that?
I've heard of it on a lake.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a snow thing.
It's absolutely a huge thing. Buck Hill, where Lindsey Vonn, made her dues and paid her dues. The great Olympian Lindsey Vonn. They don't just have skiing. They don't just have snowboarding. They have tubes as well. They're almost basically the same exact kind of tube that you would go and take in the water, but you go downhill. It's kind of like a less safe version of sledding.
That doesn't sound safe at all.
No, but it is pretty. I mean, you never fly. Nothing terrible ever happens. Nobody ever breaks anything.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure everything's all good.
Oh, for sure. I've never heard of anybody actually seriously getting injured doing tubing. You got handles. It's pretty safe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
shout out to Jessica and Mark, and thank you, Lauren, for that interview and. Got us wondering about the history of Valentine's Day here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know much about it, but I've heard that Paul and Grace are some experts.
That's right. Paul, what do you know about Valentine's Day?
Stand by. I'm just bringing up some fancy graphics that I whipped up for this very special occasion. Let's see if it works.
What are you doing with Kaylee tomorrow, Paul?
I am. Her request was to make ramen, so I'm going to make her some ramen. We're going to have that from Japan.
Okay.
We're going to have our
little Maruchan, you know, the little bag, you know, the little the little cups,
Is that
you know,
the college stuff?
Yeah,
I
you know,
actually I bought some pork neck bones that I'm gonna stew overnight, turn into a broth, and then it's gonna slowly cook all throughout the day. So yeah. So tell me, where do you think Valentine's Day started?
I'm gonna you're talking about like a country.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you said earlier that you believe that obviously it had to do with the Saint Valentine.
Yeah, I thought there was some sort of feast day associated with it, but I'm not sure.
So there was. So basically, what happened was it actually was originally a pagan festival, like a lot of our things that stick around today, like Christmas, Easter. Started as a pagan festival about fertility, and so gentlemen used to go around and whip semi-clad women, a light whipping with goat hides. That's how it started. Yeah.
Segment has lost.
Interesting.
That's how it began, and then the church.
I've seen a couple of videos like that once or twice. Yeah.
The church kind of got a hold of it, credited it to some saints. There's a couple of different discussions about which of the actual saints it was. The Christian martyrs that were ostensibly given the credit for it. But we don't really know. But what we do know, which I thought this was interesting and I didn't know until today, the poet Chaucer. Familiar with Chaucer's work?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So Chaucer, he is actually the one that's credited with sort of connecting the dots of Valentine's Day in February to romance. And it came from one of his poems that he wrote in the 1300s called Parliament of Fowls, where he linked February 14th, so Valentine's Day, which at the time was just a Christian feast day, with romance. And he said, "For this was on St. Valentine's Day when every bird comes there to choose his mate." So the idea, the concept of the birds choosing their mates, that is what actually connected St. Valentine's Day with romance. Before that, it was a feast day that was, apart from the gentle whipping that happened in the past with the pagans, was there was no romantic connection whatsoever.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting that I wanted to share.
And I know there's some interesting traditions all around the world with Valentine's Day you're going to get into, right?
Yeah, so the first one, thought of this, saw it, thought of Max immediately. In Japan, men get given the chocolates on Valentine's Day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. I'd like that.
Yeah, again,
Just another
Japanese
reason.
culture just keeps on giving.
keeps kicking ass. They got it all right over there.
There's only one little, and I'll tell you this one off the air. It's not good, but a month later, on March 14th, women, it's then their task to give men the chocolate. So it's like, give or take, so tomorrow, anyone that's a Japanophile? Is that the word?
Japanese?
Yeah, I think otaku is kind of the word that a lot of people use. It's meant to be is someone that is obsessed, kind of obsessed with Japanese culture.
Okay,
Yeah, it's like a Japanese word.
Otaku.
Yeah.
So if you're an otaku enthusiast, then it should be the women giving the men the chocolate tomorrow.
What's your favorite kind of chocolate?
Ooh, I mean, I just like probably milk chocolate. Probably just milk
Like a
chocolate.
brand. Yeah.
I mean, does Kit Kat count?
Kit Kat?
Kit Kat. Yeah, that's probably. I don't need no fancy chocolate, dog. I like Kit Kats. Speaking of Japan, they got lots of flavors out there. I don't even be eating the Dubai chocolate or none of that.
What about See's Candy from Southern California?
No, I've never even heard
The
of
white
that.
box.
Never
the
heard
white,
of
the
it.
nice
Never.
white-
No one else
the
here
nice
has heard of
white
that,
box.
Adam.
Never heard of that.
It's beautiful.
Never
It's
heard
the
of
best
that.
chocolate in the world.
Speaking of candy.
What?
Speaking of candy, the Love Heart candy with the little messages on them.
I love those conversations.
favorite,
Those conversation candies, they actually started as medicine for your throat. They're a throat lozenge. And then eventually someone was like, we can probably make some more money out of this on a big day and print some cute words on them. And that's how they became Valentine's Day candy. They're actually throat lozenges. Got a tickle in your throat, have a conversation.
It's the yellow ones are the best ones. I don't know what the flavor is with the yellow ones. Those are.
Do
the
they
best
have
ones.
different flavors?
I think so. No, they do. The yellow ones
I
have
never knew
a,
that.
Just tastes like chalk.
And and the best conversation hearts, they're slightly chewy. They're not the real hard ones. They're nice and soft to the core.
I do have another question for you though. Who
Yes.
do you think receives the most Valentine's gifts out of any profession in the world?
Ooh, man.
It's got to be teachers, right? Because this is a school kids thing.
Yeah,
Teachers
teachers.
get the most Valentine's.
Teachers.
Teachers.
Yeah, and so
gonna say waiters.
I thought that was an interesting thing to share. And then basically, just going back to the Chaucer thing, it became a tradition to celebrate love, give slight little sort of gifts and party favors. But then in the 1800s, when mass printing became very popular, they were looking for something that they can print. You know, everyone wants to get a card. How can we get everyone to get a card? Everyone's in love. Let's give everyone cards, which has led to, in America alone, 145 million Valentine's Day cards get given out every year. So, this only second to Christmas. Christmas is the only holiday that gives out more cards.
Dang.
So that was my little fun facts and interesting trivia tidbits that I'd learn about Valentine's Day today.
I love it.
Yeah, very informative.
We're going to ring it in tomorrow, and we're also ringing in President's Day on Monday. Shout out to President's Day.
Yeah, sure.
All the presidents,
For sure.
That we're honoring on Monday, and we'll be back on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday, taking the day off for President's